challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this to wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This is Early Exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development with our conversation. Today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Yes, it's another beautiful day, a beautiful Friday morning. You know, thank God it's Friday. So often saying this climb. There's always that excitement that comes with Friday. I'm sure you understand. Another opportunity for us to discuss issues related to business, global issue, and the economy. This is Early Exchange, and I am Femi Ayodele. Today, we're going to look at how the present economic reality has affected real estate business. We're going to spotlight the demand for luxury apartments, what has been the situation with luxury apartments globally, in Africa, in Nigeria, and by extension, we're going to look at what is playing out as far as Lagos is concerned. It's your program. This implies that you can be part of the conversation to share with us your experience as regards the demand for luxury apartments or rents in your area as far as real estate business is concerned. All you just have to do is to go on a social media platform, on a YouTube page to share your view. And the truth is, your voice needs to be heard. Blessing is here to also give you the best of programming. It's Friday. TGI.
Oh yes, it is Friday. Good morning, Femi.
Good morning.
And as always, this is when we wrap up the week. Exactly. And it's interesting to know that you already look Friday-ish.
You know, there's always that, excitement that comes with Friday when you know you've started the week on a good note, and then you're wrapping it up with something so relaxing.
All right.
It makes your weekend worse.
Yeah, what could be more relaxing than talking about housing? After all, after work, everybody wants to retire to a very comfortable house. And more so, we'll be looking at the near validation rules of the Nursing and Midwife Council of Nigeria as it concerns nursing certificates. So if you're a nurse and you'll be thinking, what does this mean? How does it affect me? Who will listen to our cries? Well, that will also be part of the conversation today. Now, let's get over to the news studio where Juvi Ofiene is waiting to keep you abreast on the latest happenings before we come back and set the discussions for the day. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to News Update. I am Juvi Ofiene. The Nigerian government has initiated the establishment of 280 hydrometeorological stations nationwide, aimed at enhancing the collection, analysis and dissemination of hydrometeorological data. This was highlighted by the Minister of Water Resources, Professor Joseph Utsev, during the 30th regular meeting of the National Council on Water Resources and Sanitation held in Abuja. He noted that the International Commission of Irrigation and Drainage has set aside a total of 482 stations for Nigeria, emphasizing the importance of expanding this infrastructure. The minister also affirmed commitment to adding a minimum of 20 new stations annually. The minister, while emphasizing government's dedication to hydropower projects through public-private partnerships, also noted their role in facilitating clean electricity generation and employment opportunities. The customs exchange rate for the clearance of cargoes at the nation's seaports rose to a record high on Thursday, following a 2.2% upward review by the Central Bank of Nigeria, increasing it by 33.61 to 1,515.09 naira per dollar. These adjustments mark the 6th increment in 13 days and the 10th since the present government took over power in May 2023. The latest hike, exceeding the official exchange rate for the first time, came less than 24 hours after the previous adjustment from 1,444.56 naira per dollar to 1,481 naira 0.48 per dollar. Notably, the customs exchange rate has seen a significant surge from 422.30 per dollar to 1,515.092 per dollar within a relatively short time, prompting concerns among maritime experts and stakeholders. The national president of African Association of Professional Freight Forwarders and Logistics of Nigeria, Otumba Frank Ogunjemite, urged freight forwarders to collaborate with civil society groups, the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress to address the negative economic impact on the masses. And away from Nigeria, the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced his intention to sign into law a national health insurance bill aimed at achieving universal health coverage for South Africans. Though he did not specify a time frame for its enactment, the bill passed by lawmakers last year awaits Ramaphosa's approval and will be implemented gradually at a significant cost. This initiative seeks to address long-standing racial and social disparities in healthcare prevalent among many after the end of apartheid. However, it faces opposition from business groups concerned about its potential economic ramifications. While popular among voters, analysts predict that the bill's implementation may be delayed due to anticipated legal challenges, indicating a protracted process ahead. Away from Africa, the Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki says monetary policy, including whether and when the central bank may end its negative interest rate policy, was up to the Bank of Japan to decide. He revealed this while speaking to newsmen earlier today. When questioned about the impact of slower gross domestic product data on the timeline for ending negative rates anticipated by many investors in March or April, he refrained from providing a definitive response, emphasizing the autonomy of the Bank of Japan in determining monetary policy. According to reports, the approach underscores Suzuki's recognition of the intricacies involved and the central role played by the Bank of Japan in steering monetary policy amidst a dynamic economic landscape. And finally, to kick off its 2024 All Nigeria Convention, the Rotary Club of Nigeria on Thursday held a welcome cocktail and dinner ceremony for members who have gathered in Lagos, Nigeria for the 3-day event. The biannual convention brings together Rotarians from all 4 districts in Nigeria. With the theme, Hope Without Borders, the 2024 conference seeks to promote unity, collaboration, and a shared vision for positive change. Throughout the convention, attendees will engage in thought-provoking lectures, networking opportunities, and community-focused activities. Stay with us on Souq News as we bring you live updates, exclusive interviews, and many more details on the convention all through the duration of the conference. And that's all there is for now. Do stay with us for more updates. Early Exchange continues in a bit with Femi Ayodele and Blessing Eiche. I am Juvi Ufiene. Many thanks for watching.
All right, many thanks, Juvie, for taking us through the latest development globally. And I will go on a short break. We'll be right back to kick off our conversation for today. We'll be looking at the impact of the present economic reality on real estate business and precisely how it has affected the demand for luxury apartments globally. Stay with us.
The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching Souq News.
The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
The challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this to wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This is Early Exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the Daily Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development. With our conversation today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Yes, indeed, it's the Early Exchange, and we're about shaping policy and advancing development, looking at how the present economic reality has affected the real estate business. There are reports suggesting that due to the present economic reality, there are declines in the demands for luxury apartments in New York, in Canada, in Toronto, not just in those countries alone, even in Africa. And by extension, we're going to look at what is playing out in Nigeria and in Lagos. How has this reality also affected estate developers? How are they coping in business? We have an expert with us in the studio who is going to give us a first-hand account of how they are coping in business. We're being joined by Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, who is the co-founder of Orbit Africa Properties Limited. Wisdom, glad to have you join us this morning.
Thank you so much.
First time of seeing each other this year.
Yes, this year. Yes,
so permit me to say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's never too late.
Never too late. Good morning.
Good morning. Blessing. Thank you.
All right. You've heard my intro, and it's looking like the reality. In fact, it's the reality, not that it's looking like it. Virtually every sector is affected when you look at the present economic realities, and then the real estate business is not left out. Give us your own account of the experience you've had in the last few months in terms of demand for your services, and there are reports suggesting that the demand for luxury apartments also has declined due to the economic realities that we have. Let's have your take.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, it's a general reality, not just, like you said, not just in Nigeria, but it's a global issue and challenge. We know that generally as individuals, as human beings, we want to have good life, we want to live comfortably, we want to have all the amenities that we can get, especially when it comes to our house, our home, because the home is a resting place where after the hustle and bustle, you should be able to return back and rest comfortably with all basic amenities. But we know that hey, you need funds, you understand, to enjoy life. Let me use that word. You need funds to enjoy life. And the current economic reality in the country, especially after the pandemic, there were a lot of economic instability that came into sectors, into the nation's economy in Nigeria and even outside the country. And this has also affected what people earn. You understand? And then what you practically see with people today is, let me just survive. Let me just have a roof over my head. As long as I can have basic amenities, I can have maybe lights, I can have water and all that. Luxury is on another scale. Yes, we'll get to luxury when things maybe become better. But for now, you see people trying to survive. And then even practically, if I also, in playing in the sector, you see that when people want to buy a property, what they are majorly interested in is, okay, is the property good? Is it correct? Nobody is bothering to ask, is there a swimming pool in the property? And all those luxury amenities, you understand? Everybody, and averagely somebody who comes to Lagos just wants to get a house. Now, when we talk about luxury, we know that one of the things you put into consideration when you talk about luxury is location, you understand? So averagely, individual just wants to have a place to stay and then just be safe. You understand? And then we are hoping that when things become better, people can now come out to say, okay, begin to ask for all the luxurious amenities that should be in a building, and then we believe that things will become better.
All right, why the demand for luxury apartments is dropping, but the price of the luxury apartment themselves are increasing compared to what is obtained in the global scene, where the price of the luxury apartments are dropping. So how do you reconcile this two?
Okay, so the truth is there are a lot of factors that really affect that. And one of the factors is the cost that is being required to put up a luxury apartment. And I can tell you that a lot of developers in Nigeria today individually don't have this fund to put up a luxury apartment. Many of them, they get loans from bank, and then when you get a loan from a bank, you have to talk about the interest on that loan. And so if you get a loan on the bank is not going to hear an excuse that is an economic issue, you understand? So as long as that property is being constructed, everybody wants to make profits because everybody is in business to make profits, you understand? And so there is a fixed price, there's a speculated price that, okay, if I get 1 billion naira to construct this number of blocks of luxury apartment, I already have a speculation that in about 5 years, I should be able to make 5 billion naira from it. And then you get that pool of fund, and then you factor in the interest and all that. And so when you construct the apartment, no matter, and that's why if you go around the island, you see a lot of luxury apartments that are up for rent, that are up for sale. You understand? There are people who are interested, but they don't have the financial capacity. And then investors cannot say, because people are interested, they don't have the financial capacity, they now begin to sell at a loss. Nobody wants to lose because they are in business to make profit. You understand? And that is why they must factor in all those. So I was talking about the issue of the loan, bank interest that comes in. Another thing you find in this part of the country, in this part of the world, is the high demand of this luxury apartment. And we know the demand and supply chain, that when the demand is high, you understand, investors or marketers tends to increase the price because the demand is high and the supply is low, you understand? And so in Nigeria, you still find luxury apartments very, very expensive because it is the demand for it is high. You understand? We have a lot of people who are outside the country who are buying this luxury apartment, buying it, you know what dollar is there, they buy it very cheap, you understand, and all that. And so it is high on this side. But if you go outside, you understand, you go to New York, go to China and all that, there are a lot of economic reality too that is making the investors to bring down the price of their property so that they can also sell. Yes.
I would still like you to give us a picture of what the sector, or in particular the demand and services for this luxury apartment used to be pre-COVID, and then you post-COVID, and then now that you have economic realities playing out globally. What are some of the significant things that has happened before now? You know, the COVID era also created another decline, which few years after, there seems to be a recovery. But now, what is playing out? So give us that picture of pre-COVID, post-COVID, and now that the reality is here.
Okay, so let me use Lagos to kind of explain that. So in Lagos, before the COVID-19 pandemic, let me use a place like the Lagos Island, with about 250 million, you can get a luxury apartment. I'm talking about on the island, maybe somewhere in Lekki and all that. That's before COVID. Now, after the pandemic, we also have to talk about the government. After the pandemic, a lot of things happen in the economy, as to the issue of corruption, and then as to the availability of resources for people to even purchase some of these. So there were a lot of economic instability. That's number one. Individuals who even have this fund to purchase this luxury apartment won't come out, you understand, to buy. Because if you buy an apartment like that, an individual in Nigeria who maybe stays in Nigeria, do business in Nigeria, and then you buy an apartment of 250 million, I can tell you the next day, the government will ask you, where did you get that money from? You understand? Despite the economic reality, what business are you doing? Where did that pool of fund come from? And all that. Another thing that you are going to look at is the need for luxury apartments. So before COVID, you see people graduating in the pool of funds they have and some of those stuffs, and then they are looking forward to getting the luxury. In short, you see investors say, okay, even if you don't have the 200 million, come and drop 10 million naira, and then you begin to pay over a space of 5 years. You see that before the COVID-19 era. But after that, after the COVID-19 era, because of the economic instability, even some people that maybe took loan to build the apartment, the pressure became much. The interest rates that you have to pay back to whatever bank, you got that money to build that apartment, is up already because of the value of dollar to a naira and all that. And so there's an increase in the price of that apartment, and then there is a decrease in the demand of that apartment because of the economic and reality. And so you don't even find that situation. In short, the last I heard is that they tell you to pay at least 70% deposit before you can move into the house, or maybe you pay 50%. That's what's happening currently. Maybe you pay 50% deposit, then we know that the apartment is in your name, but you can't even move into the apartment until maybe you pay 70% deposit, and then you can move into and then pay the remaining 30% over a period of maybe 1-2 years. And what is causing this fact is the current economic reality. The bank are putting pressure on them where they got, where we developers got this money to get this apartment available. The country also is not smiling. The country is not smiling and all that. And then the issue of corruption, like I said, anybody who gets this apartment, people are after them and all that. And so generally you can see that there is a decline in the request for this apartment. That does not mean that, as I said from the beginning, that investors should now reduce the price. You understand? It can't happen. It can't play here in Nigeria. You can see that in outside Nigeria, or maybe outside Africa, you can see that. But in Nigeria, you cannot, because a lot of amenities that is being built, that is used in the construction of a luxury apartment, are not gotten from the country. They are not being manufactured in Africa. And so many of the tiles, many of the building materials that are used in the construction of these apartments, many of them are not gotten from the country. So something you used to maybe buy at a rate of, let me say, maybe 100 million, with the current reality of dollar to naira, you need maybe 150 million or 200 million to buy that thing. And then look at the issue of the import duty. I believe it was on the news of how they increased the import duty to about I think it was an increase of about 25%, additional 25%. You understand? And these are all the things that still affect the price of luxury apartment in Nigeria. So it is standing on two sides. So it was better before the pandemic, but the pandemic caused a lot of economic instability, and then we are just hoping that we will get to pull through as developers with the current reality of the country.
Now, in spite of the current reality, but the price will remain high, how sustainable is that for business? You take a loan to invest in creating or building luxury apartment, the price is high, but the demand is low. How sustainable is that for business?
Okay, so we all know that business is a risk. You understand? Yes, you can have speculations before you go into business, but you can't be 100% sure of what the future holds. You understand? So as developers, you see them adjusting by, for sometimes maybe the apartment was built to sell on outright sales, but you see them coming to say, okay, let's do short let. You understand? So at least so that something can begin to come in from it. So we are looking for somebody to buy this apartment for 1 billion naira. Oh, it looks like 1 billion naira. Raising 1 billion naira is a challenge with the current economic reality. Okay, let's put the apartment on short let. So people can come in to the apartment, pay 2 million naira, use it for 1 day, use it for 2 days, and go. At least you know that the apartment is in use, pending when you become you get the opportunity to sell that apartment. You understand? So these are just a few measures that investors are also using. We're also collaboration too, and then seeking for individuals who are in the outside. So we're building this apartment in Nigeria, but we are preaching to Nigerians in diaspora or Africa in diaspora to see invest back home. You understand? Because we know it's more easier for them to purchase some of this apartment. So these are just some strategies that developers are using to manage the situation, hoping that things will become better in the few years to come, and then they can bounce back fully to business.
All right, now talking about investment, some persons put their money in real estate not because they want to live in the property, but as a way to counter the inflation currently ongoing, so that whenever they need it, they can also get their money back. Now, you also pointed out different uses of this luxury apartment. So does that mean now that people the owners and developers are creating other uses aside you buying a luxury apartment to live in now. It's now become like a business venture. You buy the property and you begin to use it for shortlet. So how's that aspect of real estate going? Shortlet services, is the demand high?
Okay, yes, the demand is high. I can tell you because of the current security issue in the country, when people or individuals or members of nationalities in Nigeria who are not in Nigeria, when they come into the country, nobody wants to go and stay in Ibafo. Nobody wants to go and stay in, and you know, when we talk about luxury apartment, location is key, you understand? And in short, generally, location is one of the major definition of an apartment being luxury. Location. And then Nigeria, we know that a few locations who have some of the luxury apartments are Lagos, Abuja, and then maybe Port Harcourt. Is just generally. So the security issue, you see people who want to come into Lagos and then they want to stay on the island. They want to stay in a place that at least you know that this place, my security is guaranteed, power supply guaranteed, water is guaranteed, accessibility is available, and then all amenities that I can enjoy outside the country, I can also get it in this apartment, and you understand. And that has also caused an increase in the request for shortlet apartment. So there are individuals who even come and then rent the apartment for 3 months. There are individuals who come and rent for 6 months and all that. Even other, even businesses who want to do business in Nigeria, maybe for a temporary period of time, they also go for this luxury apartment. So I can tell you that as a developer, I can tell you that shortlet business, you understand, in Nigeria is doing very well because of the current security issue, and then the fact that there are just a little number of places that you will find luxury apartment. Like I said, in 36 states, you understand, majorly there are just 3 states that you go, out of 36 that you go, and then you can be sure that, oh, I will get an apartment that my 24 hours power supply is there, water supply, swimming pool, I have access to, maybe I want to go to recreational centers and all that. So it's just really scarce. So because of that, it has caused an increase in the request for shortlet apartment, and that is doing very, very well. And in the long run, that is even more profitable than the outright sale of that amenity. So if you have structures on ground to manage your apartment for shortlet and rentals, you make more money than just outright sale of that property.
Interesting.
All right, the conversation is getting more interesting. We just have to go on a short break now. We'll return shortly to discuss more, and the conversation will get bigger. Stay with us.
The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
My name is Dr. Ajili Tobi. My name is Etemere Glover. Naomi, well done, and shout out to Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. I want to encourage everyone to keep watching Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News, and yes, tune into them.
Keep watching Souq News. They are one in town.
Hey, we're watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. Catch them on YouTube and all social media channels.
Hey, my name is Frank Edowo, and I'm imploring you. No, forget that. I am forcing you, coercing you to always stay tuned to Souq News for your news requirements.
The challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this to wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This is Early Exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development. With our conversation today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Yes, it's still Early Exchange, and we're still looking at the impact of the present economic reality on real estate business, and specifically looking at the demand for luxury apartments globally. Our guest is still here. We still have Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko with us. Interesting. Now, looking at what is playing out, specifically in a place like New York, where some of these apartments have been converted to a temporary residence for asylum seekers, and might be the reality of what will play out in a few months if these buildings are being abandoned and then the decline continues this way, maybe for like a year or more. What might likely play out economically?
Okay, so generally, when you talk about New York as a place, I just want to compare New York and Nigeria. Now, the truth is, when you look at the definition of what a luxurious or a luxury apartment is all about, it's just an apartment with maybe improved basic amenities. At least you are sure of your light, water, relax, and all those things. And when you look at a place like Nigeria, there are a few places where you find some of these houses having these facilities. But when you go to the other side, which is New York, you understand, it's not like that. I can tell you that a lot of their, well, I say a lot of the basic amenities have first of all been solved by the government. You understand? So even if you're in an apartment that is not a luxury apartment, at least you are comfortable, except you have the basics. And then even beyond having the basics, access to a recreational center, pools where you can relax and all that is also readily available. And that is the reason why the decrease in the request or maybe price of luxury apartment in a place like New York may continue to also go down. You understand? When you look at also government policy, the policies of the government, the real estate industry in that part of the world is regulated. You cannot just build a house and then individually decide to say this house is $20 billion. No, you understand? There is regulation, not like on this side. This side, anybody can just build a house and say this is the cost I used to build this house, and because of that, this is the price. But it doesn't play out in that place. You are not just dependent on you don't just do things anyhow. And that is just like what you said, a luxury apartment used for home to the street kids and people who have been affected by maybe one natural disaster or the other. And these are factors, and that is how the economy should actually be. You understand? We should not live in an economy where the poor, the gap between the poor and the rich is so wild that if you must get access to what the rich are having access to, you must become rich. We should be in an economy where even the poor can access everything that the rich can get access to. And so in that part of the world,
The challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this to wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This is Early Exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development. With our conversation today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Many thanks for staying tuned. This is Early Exchange, and we'll be looking at the decline in the rates of luxury houses, luxury apartments across major cities in the world. But it's a different situation in Nigeria. Yeah, the demand is dropping, but the rates are not dropping. And we do have a realtor in the studio with us this morning who has been looking at the reasons why you have this disparity from what you have in the globe and what you have in Nigeria. Now, before we went on that break, he was sharing his thoughts on the current situation, the change in the use of some of the luxury apartments in countries like the US and in cities like New York, and what you would have in Nigeria. Now, you were talking about how it's quite easy to repurpose some of those apartments. Some of them used to house asylum seekers. You can't have that happen in a place like Nigeria, investing so much. But do you think that the investors will be running at a loss with the repurposing of these apartments?
Okay, so like I said earlier, that in that community or in that part of the world, everything is almost regulated. You understand? The banks, real estate developers and all that is regulated. And I know that if the government is also going to use a property that you legitimately own, they won't use it and make you run at a loss. You understand? So if, for example, those properties are being converted to maybe houses for maybe those who are challenged and all that, I know that they are going to be good compensation the developers outside the country. And the price of some of those properties, like I said, are not too high, you understand, compared to what you have on this part of the country, because generally some of the amenities you find in a luxury apartment has already been provided by the government, you understand. Some people outside the country, using a city like New York as an example, live in luxury apartment maybe because of class, for prestige, and then just for the social media, so that you can say, oh, I got this house for $700 million and all that. And that is the reason why really people want to stay in luxury apartment outside the country. But when you come to Nigeria here, it is a different case. In Nigeria here, people want to stay in luxury apartment because they want to be protected, because they want to have access to basic amenities, which you won't find in other places of the country. So I'm very sure that over there, in a period of time, I'm sure that the investors or the developers won't run at a loss, because the government will also find a way of compensating them if they use this apartment for their own personal purposes. Yes.
Now, looking at the trend of this development, what are some of the interventions that could come up on the part of the government of these various nations, and like a form of incentive that will help developers and also have the demand and supply of these products?
Okay, incentive to the developers.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so
and to also help the plight of those who own the apartment, and even in general, the business interest of the investors as well?
Okay, so let me start by saying that first of all, government, yes, government is supposed to be for the people, but the truth is that what you have found and happening recently shows that government are first of all for themselves. You understand?
How do you mean?
You understand? So governments, we carry out policies that will first of all favor them. That's as a government, that will help them be able to manage the economy more or manage the country more so that nothing goes out of hand and all that. Let me tell you a major issue that is affecting luxury apartment in a place like New York. Now, you know that a few years back, Donald Trump had an issue with China during the COVID-19 pandemic, where they accused China that China was
the conspiracy theory.
Yes, you understand that COVID started from there and all those things, and that also affected business, especially in the real estate sector in the country and in the United States. And why? Because the Chinese government too, and then even top businessmen stopped doing some of their businesses with the country, and these are part of the things that affect because it is many times it is foreign investors, people who come from other countries that use some of the luxury apartments that are made available, in short, anywhere in the world. Many of the time, the individuals who are from that particular place may not be able to afford what is required to stay in a luxury apartment, but you have foreign investors coming into the country. They are the one who are able to use some of the facilities. So now the activities of the government has also caused a decline in the price or the need for luxury apartment in a place like the United States. And that was what I was saying, that government will just do first of all what will favor them as an individual many times, not even consider what the business people, you understand, are feeling. But I know that policies can also be put in place. For example, some of the luxury apartments can be converted to government use. I'm talking about incentive for developers now, what government can do as intervention to help developers. I'm very sure that if a luxury apartment is being converted to a place for maybe individuals that have been affected by natural disasters, the people who pay that money are not the individuals who have been affected. It is the government who are relocating them into that place that will pay for the apartment. And although it may not be the original price that was being put on that building, but at least it will be a price that will not make the developer to run at a loss. Another thing is policies. The government too can make policies to help foreign investment. Like I said, foreign investors are the individual who majorly uses luxury apartment in a nation. Many people in the nation may not be able to afford it, but when you have people coming from other countries coming to do business in the country, they want to live comfortably and all that. In short, for you to have money to go and do business in another country, you should be able to afford you being comfortable and understand. So if government also put up policies to help foreign investors, to help investors come into the country, that will also help the use of this. That will also serve as a Souq or compensation to individuals who have luxury apartments in some of this nation. Also, stability in the economy. When the economy is stable, speculations can pull through. For example, an individual who is building a house and is saying, okay, in the next 2 years, I'm sure that this house from 1 billion naira is going to worth about 5 billion naira. And if the economy is stable, which is in the hands of the government, you can be very sure that in the next 2 years, I will make 5 billion naira on this. But when you come into a system where there are a lot of economic instability, today this is that, tomorrow this is this and all that, your speculation of you making 5 billion for that property may not come to fruition. In short, even if it will come to manifestation, it may be after maybe 5 years or 10 years against what you have planned. And remember, when you were doing some of these things, collecting loan from the bank, you're telling the bank that in 2 years, I'm very sure that I'll be able to make so amount of money from this property. I'll service your loan and then make my profit and all that. And when the economy is not, and that is what we're also facing on this part of the world, you understand? And you just have to do it because business is rich. You can't, because of that, say you won't do business. And then we just hope that as Africa, as Nigeria, will be able to achieve economic stability, which will also favor real estate developers and generally the country.
Let's turn to another segment of the real estate market, which is the low-cost housing that is always in demand. We find that there's always demand for that, but the rates keep going high and the payment plan keeps becoming different. Please speak to that.
Okay, it's a general, especially in Africa, it's a general problem. We are still suffering from housing deficit. And the truth is that when the population is high and the demand or the availability of that product is on short supply, the price will always go up. It is constant, you understand? And I know that the government have tried to intervene, like when you see the urban shelter project. Recently, the president of Nigeria just commissioned 3,000 housing project in Karasana, in Abuja. And some of all those plans of the government is just to also help, but majorly real estate development or provision of houses or housing facility in a nation is in the hands of private real estate developers, individuals who are in the market to make profit. And it's constant that when the demand is high and the supply does not meet up with the demand, the price of what is available will continue to go up. Now we also know that the cost of also putting this apartment together, the low-cost housing to the price. We are currently doing a construction in a Gondo area of Lagos State, and then 4 days ago we got a bag of cement for 7,000. Yesterday we bought it for 8,700 naira. You understand? And the quotation we have given, we have to also match up with that quotation and all that. And when the house is also being completed, if you want to rent the house or maybe sell the house, whatever you haven't put on, you have to take it up. You understand? You have to increase the meet up, you can make profit and all that. But that does not, let me also say that does not mean that developers or private developers should not be considerate. You understand? Should not be considerate, especially in a country like Nigeria. We know that there is a high demand on low-cost housing. We should come up with strategies to see how we can make it available at a very, very cheap price. Good payments plan, because if you look at what the minimum wage is talking about, you can almost say that an average Nigerian may not be able to buy a house in 5 years or in 10 years. You understand? So that is just a call out to private developers. But generally, when the demand of a facility, you understand, is high and the supply is low, the price will always keep going up. The price will always keep going up. So it's a reality we have to live with. Yeah.
Talking about realities, one of the realities has to be to also access to funds, which is one of the realities the developers are battling with. What can be done in the interim? You know, let's look at a place like Nigeria where the exchange rate is just of great concern. Yeah. And what can be done to help the plight of developers, you know, having access to funds? And now that we have the exchange rate being also another factor that determines the level of your access to fund and the kind of amount you will even get.
So talking about access to fund, first of all, I would want to say that real estate development, especially for developers, is business, is private business, and the ability to thrive of a business is in the hand of the business owner. So individuals will have to see a way of maybe individually raising funds and all that. But just on a general public call, the government can wade into the situation. Like I said, outside the country, almost everything is being regulated, including the tax, including the interest rate on loan that is being collected from bank. But on this part of the country, it looks like some sectors, especially maybe the banking sector and all that, are doing things the way they like. You understand? Sometimes they look at your brand, look at your personality, look at your collateral and all those things before they determine whatever interest they're going to put in on it. But it should not be so. You understand? The government should be able to put a benchmark on interest rate and say, okay, this, if you are collecting this amount of loan, this is what is you should pay in maybe 5 to 10 years or maybe 1 to 2 years, and then if it's going to this amount, this is what you should pay, and then let it be monitored or let it be regulated. You understand? So if that is in place, it's also going to help private developers in access to funds. Another thing that can be done is collaboration. You understand? As developers, we should look at collaborating. You understand? We would do more in the real estate sector by collaborating. I have the fund. I may not have the technical know-how on how to construct or maybe go into construction or make property available. Why don't I look for somebody who has the skill, who can develop? Okay, I have the fund, you have the skill, and we look at another person who has the marketing strategy. 3 of us come together, we develop a maybe 2,000 units of housing. I'm providing the funds, and then you are doing the development. We have a third party who is doing the marketing, and then legally we have all the sharing formulas on how the profit is going to be shared and all that. That is collaboration. That will also help developers to gain access to funds. You understand? We can also look at minimum initial deposit. You understand? Very practically. So and that is one of the strategies as developers we also use to raise funds. So you want to construct maybe a 4-bedroom terrace, 6 of them, and then maybe you want to sell at 80 million naira in Lekki. You can say, okay, individuals who are interested in this project is also linking to collaboration. Come and drop 10 million naira. If I get 10 million naira from 60 people, that is about 60 million naira. I can use that to raise that project to a particular level. You understand? And then when even the project is at a particular level, it's easy to also get pool of funds. If somebody come and then see an on-site project, a project going on, and you're saying, bring money for this project or support this project, it's easy for an individual to connect or to maybe invest in that than you just coming to say something without a project. So these are just things I think that investors or developers can do. One on the government, which is talking about policies, and then monitoring interest and all that, and the other is on the developers, which is talking about collaboration and then the situation of payment plan. I think that will help us to have access to funds.
All right, along the line of access to funds, do you think the Federal Mortgage Bank, financial institution like the Federal Mortgage Bank, should be closer to developers than individuals in terms of accessing fund for housing? Would that help?
Yes, yes, they should be closer. I think they should be closer to the both parties, both individuals and also developers. And then there should be regulations. That is what is key. There should be regulations. So if I come to a mortgage bank and then maybe I get 200 million to construct housing, we know that the Federal Mortgage Bank was being set up to assist individuals who want to own a house, and then you don't have the financial capacity to own the house. Just get a pool of loan and then you can do that. And then sometimes you don't even have to have the whole money. Sometimes maybe you just need 10 million naira. You can move into your 4-bedroom apartment and pay for 10 years and pay for 15 years. So if there are regulations which are key, you understand, either the mortgage bank can be closer to the developers, because I can tell you that as far as Nigeria and Africa is concerned, the private developers own the real estate market. There's a little that the bank or the government, you understand, can do. Yes, the government are trying, but the individual, the private developers are the one who owns it. So the mortgage bank or the Federal Mortgage Bank should be closer to the developers, but there should be regulations, because developers are in the market to make profit. They are in the market to do business. But if there are regulations on ground, rules and regulations that, okay, we are giving you this pool of funds, you are constructing so number of housing, the minimum amount that you put this house, this is the amount you put this house, and then individuals don't have to pay this total amount of money. What they just need is an initial deposit. And then if the system is structured in an organized way, you can even connect them to ministries, connect them to government institutions. We know that a lot of individuals are being employed by the government, you understand, in the country. Okay, look at the issue of ASU we are talking about. That is an that is an issue that I can tell you that the reason why you see some of all these ASU issues and all that is because those who are working for the government cannot afford basic amenities of life. Example, housing. Some of them are still living in rented apartment. But if there is a plan that, okay, this mortgage facility of pool of funds is made available to this private company, and then members of the government or individuals who are working for government, members of ASU, members of NNPC and all that, can directly meet these private developers, and then there are rules and regulation on the terms and conditions on which you can acquire this property, maybe by an initial deposit and all that. I think that we'll have a more working system, and then in a period of time we will have individuals who will have a house that they can call their own. Yes.
Now let's extend this conversation to looking at issues around mortgage financing in Nigeria. For individuals who actually want to build houses in Nigeria, you always find out that they pay out of pocket, they have their own investment, self-help. They resort to self-help rather than depending on mortgage financing. What can be done to improve the system of mortgage financing or the challenges associated with this in Nigeria?
Okay, I'll talk about maybe the attitude of the face of this mortgage financing. Let me tell you, when I finished from NYSC, I wanted to start up my company at that time, and I know that in the camp, the bank, the mortgage, Federal Mortgage Bank, they came to do an advert, something like an advert and all that, and I collected their number, and I can tell you that I called that number for almost 2 weeks, trying to, okay, let me know the process and all that. I'm ready to maybe have access, at least let me just, this is just a young guy who is just coming out of school and all that. I called that number, I just gave up on it. So we have to do more in the face of this, we have to do more in improving the face of this federal mortgage financing. You understand? A lot have to be done also in adverts. Let people know what they stand to gain. I can tell you, a average Nigerian on the street does not even know that there is anything called mortgage. Does not even know that they can have access to financial support. You understand? To help them acquire a home.
Even the ones who know, they don't want to go through the stress.
They don't want to go through the stress. You understand? Because you have to maybe sort individuals, you have to wait. You understand? Maybe if you start the process, it will take you maybe 1 year for that fund to come. And then, so when you look at the whole bureaucracies, when you look at the whole money you have to even spend to get this amount of money that you have to pay over a period of time, sometimes Nigerians or individuals who are in that sector of the government have to really do more. You understand? And then if there are sensitizations and then people are aware, and then the process is seamless. The process is seamless. Let me give you an example. If you look at what the loan app is currently doing in Nigeria today, these individuals, they literally beg you to come and collect loan. These private loan apps, they beg you to come and collect loan. They are doing adverts. They will call your number. They will tell you that, oh, come and collect this money. You have 6 months to pay. You have 1 year to pay. Yes, they are making a lot of profit. But when you see the energy that is being put into making people feel like you can collect a loan and then relax, they go as much as doing TV adverts. So if the government can really also go through that channel, you understand, to do some of these things, I'm very sure that Nigerians can trust the government the more and then come into making use of that facility to see how they can become homeowners.
Do you think the reason why you don't have that appeal kind of marketing in mortgage bank from the mortgage bank is because it takes a longer time to recoup the fund, unlike when the loan companies are just giving little money and then in 2-3 months, in less than a year, people have paid back what they collected?
Okay, so the truth is that is why that that segment of the government is set up. That is why. That is the major reason. Make financing available to people so that they can get housing, and then they can own a house, they can have a roof over their head, and then they pay over a period of time. Maybe our population is what is affecting us. In a place like Dubai, as a nationality, you are giving birth to and all that. I think the moment you get to the age of 12 or 15, you have a piece of land that the government gives to you as an individual of that country. And then when you become, I think maybe 22, you have access to fund to develop that property and then become a homeowner. That is maybe because of their population, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe our population is affecting us. If we make that available, we are struggling in other sectors. You understand? In short, the governments are saying that, oh, as a nation, we are almost broke. We are in debt. You understand? And I think that that is one of the reasons why, yes, that is available, but they are shying away from it. You understand? So that you don't have a lot of people who come and request for the loan and all that, and then it's not a money that you can get almost immediately. You understand? They know that they have to wait for a very, very long period of time to get back that money, and sometimes Nigerians will not pay. You understand? So it's on the part of the government. It's also on the part of we as Nigerians. We have to really change our attitude, because it does not really make sense that you're having an issue with the government because of a 5 million naira or because of a 10 million naira they collected from you. You collected from the government and all that, and so that is just the challenge that we are facing. But I think that if the government can find a way to partner with private real estate developers, because even without the government intervention, I can tell you that daily real estate developers are building structures. Go everywhere in Lagos, go everywhere in Abuja. Real estate developers are building structures, You understand? So I think that if there is a way that the government can sit down and then collaborate with the private real estate developers, so individuals, members of the country don't have to come to the government. All you just have to do is to go to the private real estate developers, and then there are regulations, there are rules that are in the public, that okay, this is the procedure, this is the amount of money, this is that. A 4-bedroom flat should not go beyond 25 million and all this. And also, if there are regulations that favors both the developers and then the average Nigerian who want to own a home, I think that we'll come into a better situation as bridging the gap of housing deficit in the country.
Quickly, let's look at what raises the cost of owning a home or building a house in Nigeria, and what can be done to reduce the cost.
Okay, there are a lot of factors that affect the cost of a property. Number one is the price of acquiring the piece of land. Every property is on a piece. Every property is on a piece of land. The price of acquiring that piece of land, especially when it is in a prime location. You go to a place like Abuja, you want to get a plot of land in an area that is developed, you must have 30 million naira and above. You understand? Go to Lagos, you understand, 30 million and also. That is number one. Number two is the process of even getting approval for that property. You go to get approval, you have to do a lot of sorting. You have to do it, and that is, and you know, I was in a seminar, and then we were talking to the chairman of LAPSCA, and we're talking about the issue of this sorting. How can this process? And let me give kudos to Lagos State government. They have recently created an online platform whereby when you want to get your CFO now, I think it will be launched very soon. You can just get it from your phone. You can put all the details. You don't have a physical human interaction. We hope that the process is not being corrupted. You understand? But that process of that bureaucracy of getting that, and then we also move to the third stage, which is the price of getting the product in the market. The price of getting, and it is so serious. I'm just telling you, I can tell you that in the past 3 weeks we have had 3 different prices for a bag of cement in the past 3 weeks. That means in about between end of January and now, the prices have changed about 3 times, and then we don't know where we are going to. You understand? So and that is a basic. That is just one out of the many materials that you have to get. Now, you have to also look at the transportation. We know the issue of the fuel subsidy, how it has affected transportation generally. So when you're transporting anything to sites that you want to use in development, it's also going to affect the price of that property. Then look at approvals too. You want to build in a place like Lekki, I can tell you that aside government bodies, you have individuals who have turned themselves into like a semi-government body. In short, when they come, they tell you that we are the owner of this place, and for you to do your foundation, you have to pay 150,000. For you to do fence, you have to pay 200,000. That is on a plot of land. For you to do you pay for
still one structure.
One structure. You pay for fence. You pay for the German floor. You pay for decking. You pay for roofing. And then on the finish, so you pay every of this money. And then when you go to maybe the police or anything, they tell you that these people that is how it has been from. So we have to find a way of managing some of, because these are the things that in the end causes, these are all the things that the developer will look into a property and factor into the price of that property and factor into whatever they'll be selling that property. So the government need to really come into the situation. I'm happy that yesterday the president has given governors the ability to do state policing. You understand? It was on the use. I know that may also give governments, the state governors, that means those who wants to work, those who are responsible, to be able to manage some of the excesses of these individuals who are not, maybe they are not licensed, you understand, but they come, they harass you and all that, and you just have to pay that money because you want your work to move forward. You understand? You have timelines to meet, you have interest to pay, maybe you collected that money from a loan, you don't want any delay on the project. So when they come and they say pay this money, you pay the money because you have a mind that at the end I will collect my money from whosoever is going to rent this house or buy this house.
So the cost is transferred to the end user.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up with this because we've been talking about challenges, issues here and there. Now let's talk about the opportunities for investors looking at Nigeria. Let's give our viewers the opportunity to understand the trend and the opportunities that are in real estate now. Maybe you give them what I call expo in our own. Yeah.
Okay, so generally, the sweetest place to invest in as an investor is a developing community. It is when you want to make good return on investment, you invest in a developing community. Let me give you an example. If I want to get a plot of land in Banana Island, I may need about 500 million plus to buy a plot of land in Banana Island. I can also use 500 million to buy maybe 50 acres of land in a place like Ekpe. I'm just giving you, now I'm comparing a community that is developed with a developing community. Now, if I buy 50 acres of land in Ekpe and then an individual buys a plot of land in Banana Island, and then maybe we use the same 500 million. Now, in about 2 years, if the Banana Island, the 500 million land appreciates, maybe he appreciates by maybe 5%, it's going to just appreciate on that single property, on that single plot of land I have in Banana Island. But an individual who bought 50 acres in a place like Ekpe that is developing, now you get that 5% appreciation on 50 acres of land. I don't know if you understand the mathematics. So it is sweet, it is more profitable to invest in a developing community. And Africa is developing. In short, I can tell you that Nigeria is a developing community, and it is a place that individuals, there are a lot of people in Nigeria who are looking for basic amenities. People want to stay in estates where maybe solar powered, there's 24 hours power supply, there's security because of the security challenges and all that, and because of the dear need of these amenities, of this facility in a place like Nigeria, in a place like Africa. Anybody who comes and then invests and makes this facility available, I can tell you that you will have everybody running after whatever you have put together in the real estate sector and then made available to people. So a developing country, a developing nation, a developing environment is more profitable to invest in. And Nigeria is a developing country, and then everybody should come and invest in Nigeria, because yes, there may be a lot of challenge with the issue of processes and all that, getting approvals and all, but if you can beat the challenge and then you have whatever structure, you have whatever facility you have, you are very sure that you have a readily available market for that facility, and then you will make your money back in no time.
All right, thank you very much, Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, for being with us today. It's been an extensive discussion talking about the real estate market. We've looked at luxury housing, and we've also looked at low-cost housing. So it depends on you. What is the strength of your capital that you want to invest with? Then, of course, you should look for a trustworthy developer so you can talk business with them, and you start calculating when you get the returns on your investment. Everybody needs a place to put their head. So the markets for housing will always be there. Thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Let's get a quick break. We'll return more on El Exchange.
The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions. Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS. Tafawa Balewa Square was initially used as a horsing ground called Lagos Race Course. The edifice was constructed by General Yakubu Gowon in 1972 and named after Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Sir Tafawa Balewa. Tafawa Balewa Square is located at 45/57 Masi Bangboshe Street on Lagos Island, Lagos, and referred to as TBS. TBS is a 50,000-seater capacity venue and houses the Remembrance Arcade, the 26-story Independence House, which at a time was the country's tallest building. When Lagos served as the country's seat of government, the National Assembly Complex was within the TBS. Also in the square are the National Broadcasting Commission Office, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency Office, shopping centers, travel agencies, restaurants, car parking lots, and a bus terminal. Tafawa Balewa Square is adorned with beautiful statues of white horses and red eagles, symbols of strength and dignity. Our historic neighbors include the King's College and the Holy Cross Cathedral. Tafawa Balewa Square hosted some of the country's memorable events, such as the Independence Day in 1960, when Nigeria gained independence from Britain, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is celebrated annually on January 15. The edifice is a national cultural asset. Tafawa Balewa Square, Souq Enlightenment. The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
The challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this to wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This is Early Exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development with our conversation. Today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development. The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
The challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This is Early Exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development with our conversation. Today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early exchange, shaping policy, advancing development. The National Theatre, Igomu, built during the military regime of Olusegun Obasanjo and finished in the time for the Second World Festival of Black Arts and Culture, Festac, in 1977. The theatre holds amazing treasures and memories. The artworks fill everyone with pride. The National Arts Theatre is visible from the motorway which connects Lagos Island and the mainland. The National Theatre is packed with the artworks of legendary contemporary Nigerian artists, stained glass walls by Yusuf Grillo, sculptures and murals by Lamidi Fakeye, Erabo Emopai, and many others. It was put to full use for a month as one of the 4 venues of the Second World Black and African.
The challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this to wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This early exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the early exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development. With our conversation today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, it's the early exchange. Now let's look at the controversy trailing the issue of the new guideline guiding the certification for nurses in Nigeria, which has led to a series of protests across the country. Joining us via Zoom is Catherine Kujoro, who is a registered nurse. She joins us all the way from UK. Catherine, glad to have you join us on Early Exchange this morning.
Regulations, not in practice, not in education. So it's just to show that I am really a registered nurse. And I'm sure many of you are aware we have a lot of quacks in Nigeria. So it's just a way to be able to understand that those people have attended or completed the necessary obligations for them to be registered nurses. So that is what verification means. And over the years, for many people that wants to maybe step up a PhD or something, or you want to move out of the country, or you're working with, most times, you know, it's always international bodies that want to verify you, and some other big top companies in Nigeria, they will want to really know whether you're a registered nurse. So that's why it's been there. And usually all you need to do is just to apply. It's just for you to apply and you pay the necessary charges. And for a while, it used to take a lot of time, like it takes like 4, 6, 7 months. But when the current registrar took over, he tried to work on it, and we were able to do it not manually, not by you sending letters to Abuja, because before it was a frustrating process. You have to send a letter, you look for somebody in Abuja, sometimes you travel down to Abuja, irrespective of wherever you are in the state of Nigeria, you have to go there and submit a letter. So it became an online process, and we're able to do it. You know, it was more seamless, more stress-free than what it was before. And just recently, December, they took it off the portal, and everybody changing the guidelines to actually be verified. And the guideline is absurd. It's crazy to me. Because you're telling a registered nurse that for us to be able to prove that you issued a certificate, for us or he or she, because we don't have only females in nursing, but for that individual who is a nurse to be able to prove that I attended the accredited institution, I fulfilled all my obligations necessary, and I do possess a registered nurse license. They have to work for 2 years first after you've already told them that they fulfilled all obligations and you've given them a license to practice. So you're telling them for them to verify that they are actually licensed nurse, they need to work for 2 years. And after that, I still need to go get a letter from somebody who is maybe a CEO of your workplace who has no any affiliation or whatsoever with NMCN or the regulatory body to give you a letter for you to be verified. Then after that, you have to wait for 6 months to be verified that you're a registered nurse. And I saw the interview Alhaji Farouk did on CBC on channels, and I was surprised. And he kept on talking about it's a global standard. I work in the UK currently, and it is 24 hours. If you can have it instantly, and you put in the email address of your employer, and they will send it to them, whether you are registered or not, when your license will expire, when you've been on their register, they will let them know. So if you need to get it by post, like you want a letter, it takes you 24 hours. Just 24 hours. So it's just crazy. How is it difficult for you to actually verify a license you issued? And I want everybody to also understand that these nurses went to 5 years, 5 years of the university, 1 year internship, another 1 year NYSC. So you end up spending about 7 years of your life in nothing, and they want you to still work compulsorily for 2 more years, and that is 9 years. Then you wait for 6 months. That's almost like 10 years of your life, just because you are a nurse. Where does that make sense anywhere? And that's why nurses are really, really annoyed about it. They've been frustrated. Nigeria is a country where they do not value what they have. I'm going to say it like out there. They do not value what they have. Nurses are underutilized. They keep on always coming with policies to make sure they just want to strangle you as a registered nurse, like literally.
All right,
They want to always render you useless.
Hold on, Catherine.
They are not valued, they are not paid well. Who wants to say that kind of
Hello, Catherine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. I understand that you're paid as a nurse, but let's look at the issues here. So the revised guidelines for the validation of nursing certificates or verification for nurses who want to work abroad does not stop the nurse from working in Nigeria, but it only delays The
line was breaking.
All right, okay. So I'm asking, let's put things in perspective. These revised guidelines for nurses verification in Nigeria does not stop the nurse from working in Nigeria, but it only delays the verification of the nursing certificate of that particular nurse when he or she wants to work abroad until 2 years, or until they have 2 years post-qualification experience. So do you think that this is coming against the backdrop of the exits of many nurses from Nigeria? And so the Nursing Midwives Council of Nigeria is trying to salvage the situation with this guideline. Hello, are you there? Catherine, are you there?
The challenge of governance is to see how we can leverage what is on the ground and convert this to wealth for the people.
Russia, China are gaining entry into Africa, and it would appear that some Western countries are losing out.
You're working as an expatriate worker, then you're paid in your currency. But then if you must spend those money, you need to convert those money to the local currency to spend.
For Social Security to work, we need to know exactly how many we are. We don't have a precise number. We need to know exact location of people.
When we address this exchange rate volatility, we will see definitely cost of goods and services will come down.
From a security point of view, we should employ the technology to ensure that we can track individuals and goods within the continent.
This is Early Exchange with Femi Ayodele.
You know, the Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development with our conversation. Today, we're set to give you the best of programming.
And Blessing Aiche.
We do hope that you enjoy every time you spend with us here today. The world needs peace. The world needs to come to a round table and find solutions to the pockets of troubles.
Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Thank you for being with us on Early Exchange. We'll still have our guest, Catherine Kuyero, who joins us live from the UK. She's a registered nurse, and we'll be speaking to the current issue in the nursing profession as the Nursing Midwives Council of Nigeria has issued a new guideline regarding the validation of certificates for nurses who want to work abroad. Now, it says that before the validation can be done, the nurses must have 2 years post-qualification experience. Now, Catherine has been reacting to that. So, Catherine, now this is what I'm asking. The guideline does not necessarily affect those nurses who want to continue working here in Nigeria, but those affected are those who want to work abroad. Now, do you think that the NMCN has just revised the guidelines to salvage the situation where nurses are moving abroad, leaving Nigeria and moving abroad to work? Please respond to that.
Thank you very much for that question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
All right. If that is what the NMCN is trying to do, in my opinion, then that's not the solution to the problem. They need to address the theology first. What is causing? Why is nothing? Why are they leaving the country? If you do not address the cause of a brain drain, 2 years will come and go. Then they will have no reason to delay anyone to move out of the country. So you put in a 2 years hold on anyone that wants to travel, it doesn't solve anything. You just make them more frustrated, more determined to leave. And also, that question is a two-way thing, because for those that are also in Nigeria that might want to further, you want to further your education, you want to apply, you can actually apply for an MSc, Masters, right there in your country. You don't need to travel out. There are lots of online programs that we do now. It means you have to wait for 2 years also to make progress. You will be there for 2 years unable to be verified, unable to say, I want to study. So the delay is there. It is also dangerous for any registered nurse to be working anywhere in that country and not be verified. I understand that Nigeria is a place where sometimes anything goes. So you put in a patient in the life of a nurse that you cannot verify if that nurse is actually a registered nurse. The reason for verification is to confirm that this license issued to this individual is valid. That's the reason for verification. It's as simple as that. I cannot go to anywhere, a care home or anything. They just need to know my name, my last name. And you put it on the register. It comes out and it shows that I am actually a registered nurse. So if I need something official to send, I just need to go on my portal and put in their email address. They send it automatically. So it is actually very, very ridiculous and embarrassing that we will put patients in the line of nurses that we cannot verify. So this is not even about you want to travel out. Verification is simple. I need to validate the authenticity of whatever you're bringing to me. And the guidelines around this is just crazy. It's absurd. This is 2024. As a governing body, you issue a license. You are telling me it will take you 18 months to actually say that, yes, I did issue that license. Make it make sense. This is 2024. With all of the new technology advancement and all of that, that is all what they were able to come up with. So I do believe that that is actually a failed attempt to actually salvage brain drain. If you want to actually salvage or correct or help, you need to go to the root cause. What is causing this? When you address the root cause and you fix it, why will anybody want to travel out to anywhere to many of these European countries? The weather is bad. It's not. You almost feel alone. It's crazy. You settling in, you migrating to somewhere you do not have any route with, any tie with. They think it's okay. It's not okay. So why would anybody want to come here? Why would anybody want to leave their own country? They need to address the root cause. If LMCN as a regulatory body cannot show in their way to address the reason why nurses are leaving, then they failed really. So to me, the 2 years will come and it will go and people will still leave the country.
All right, Catherine, we'll need to continue this discussion on the next edition of the show because we need to look at other aspects of it. Earlier on, you talked about relegation of or perceived relegation of nurses. Let's look into that. Nurses are not the only medical practitioners in Nigeria. Why is the guideline for validation for nurses coming up? Are we going to have something for doctors very soon? So we'll continue the conversation along that line on the next edition of Early Exchange. Well, thank you very much for being a part of it. Well, quickly before you go, you must have heard, or you must have, maybe you have relatives calling you, or you were in Nigeria before. You understand that at this time, the temperature rises. So there's been heat wave in Nigeria, and a lot of people are finding it hard to cope with. Can you quickly share some tips, health tips to cope with the weather?
Definitely, you wear light clothing, enough hydration, get enough water, make sure you are well hydrated. Open ventilation also, it's going to definitely help. For those with maybe skin issues, they might.
Okay, that's all time will permit us take today on Early Exchange. But hey, she's giving some tip already. Wear light clothing, stay hydrated a whole lot this season so that you don't faint from maybe the too much heat or just the weather not being so friendly at the moment. And that's it on Early Exchange. I'm Blessing H. Surely the conversation will continue on Monday. Do enjoy your weekend. Stay with Souq News.
All right, it's Friday. Ensure you enjoy yourself, but do it responsibly. Ensure that every action you take, you are in control and you can manage it. I am Femi Ayodele. Have a nice weekend. Bye for now.